Hello, everybody, and welcome to the World Monologue Games 2026 info session. Thank you very much for joining me live or watching this session later. It is great to have you here, and it's great to be back because we took last year, 2025. Yes, I had to look at the clock to see what the year was. We took last year off. Hey everyone, my name is Pete Malicki. I am the founder of World Monologue Games and the head of the event. And in this info session, we're going to be talking through how everything works here at the games. We're going to be talking about how to make a submission, all of the requirements for your videos. What's new this year? We have made a few changes in 2026 for our 6th season. And yeah, just basically going through everything that you need to know for World Monologue Games. Now, we do have a fair few things to get through, so I am just gonna get on with it and we'll try to make this as quick as possible. Now, first of all, if you have a question, feel free to put it into the live chat. I won't be answering questions for the first little while of this live stream because I have a whole 3 pages of bullet points to go through. So, yeah, probably going to cover most of the questions, but I'll certainly keep my eye on those and lets you know the answer at the appropriate time. And hi in the chat, it's great to see you here, Toria. Hey, Hugo. Hugo is our bloody champion. He's won like 16 times, I think. Good to see you, mate. Good to have you here with us. All right, let's dive in. So, World Monologue Games is an acting competition and showcase where we have actors submit videos of themselves performing monologues, hence the name, and we get our judging panel to pick the best ones and we put them into YouTube premieres and live stream events. We've had 5 seasons to date and we've had around 1 million views on the event now. So we're pretty happy that it's had a fair few eyeballs on it. And quite a few thousand people have registered and participated. We are an inclusive event, and I know a lot of people use that word. What do we mean by that? We mean that anybody is welcome, no matter what your identity, age, race, sexuality, anything like that. We don't care. We actually, it's not relevant to the event. You are welcome to participate no matter who no matter who you are. And in order to make sure that everybody can participate, we give everybody a free entry into the event, which is really important. Otherwise, it would be maybe prohibitively expensive for some people who don't have the resources, even to pay $5, something like that. We emphasize performance over technology. So this isn't a filmmaking event. This is an acting event. It is all about the acting. And I'm going to continue to drill this point that it's not about the script that you use. It's not about making a statement. It's not about having a filmic or an artistic video. It's just purely an acting event. And it's all about watching fantastic acting from around the world. I'll introduce you to the team here at World Monologue Games. It's a very small team. I am Pete Malicki, and as I've mentioned, I am the creator and the head of the event. I'm the managing director of the Undo Redo group, so we run quite a few arts, publishing and other businesses, as well as a little IT business called Undo Redo Solutions, where we mostly build websites and do systems and backends, that kind of thing. But yeah, we have a publishing company and all sorts of things. I've got a long background as a writer and a filmmaker and a producer. I've run 34 festivals to date, I think, something like that. Lisa Newen is the second in command for World Monologue Games. She is my business partner and my wife. And she's the finance director and continuous improvement specialist for Undo Redo Group. as well as just the person who'll be responding to lots of your emails and social media and helping to run World Monologue Games. A very brief history of the event. We were set up due to COVID, when it was quite clear that the acting and entertainment, live theatre industries were all about to be shut down. I just wanted to make sure that there was an outlet for actors around the world, so I set this thing up. And we have now had just some key stats. 8,000 actors from over 100 countries have registered. We have broadcast 1,388 different performers over our 5 seasons. We've had 320 media stories in 25 countries, including TV in 3 different countries, and we've given out over $40,000 worth of cash and prizes to around 70 winning actors over the years. How does World Monologue Games work? There are 3 stages at World Monologue Games. We have the qualifiers, the regional finals, and the global finals. The qualifiers are where you submit your entries, and those entries are assessed, and ultimately the ones which go through the regionals are selected. In the past, during the qualifiers, all adults would make their entries public and share them, but that's one thing we have changed. So I'll go into more detail about that shortly, but that's no longer part of the event for various reasons. I'm just going to say it now and a million more times. Do not make your video public on YouTube. You will be disqualified. It must be unlisted. We want to be giving people an event where they haven't seen any of the content before whatsoever. So there are 5 categories to enter in the qualifiers. I'll go through those a little bit later. Judging takes place, and then the best performances are selected for the regional finals. So the regionals are YouTube premieres, and they're based on category as well as your geographical region. So the number of shows and the regions that we select, it really depends on the entries. We keep this flexible, so we don't say, okay, we're going to do 10 shows in the main professional category for adults. We'll just see how many entries come in, where they come in from, what scores they get from the judges, and then we will program the regionals accordingly. So we've had I think 30 shows in one year and maybe 22 in another. So it just really does depend on the entries and the quality and what the judges think, etc. So during the regionals, you have judges coming in and ranking their top 3 from each show. And we also have a viewer vote, which where the viewers, their votes don't count anywhere near as much as the judges, but they still count. And the viewer vote is used as the decider if the judges have the same number of points for a particular performer. And then we select the top performances to go through to our live stream global finals. The global finals is 1 show only in each of the 5 categories. Again, we will have those live streams. Judges will watch, audiences will watch, they'll put in their votes, and we ultimately decide our top 3 podium finishers, as we call them, those who finish on the podium. The top 3 in each category who gets bronze, silver, and gold at World Monologue Games, and gold becomes crowned the global champion. We have a ranking scheme where every year we give points to the performers who make it to the regional finals or beyond. And those rankings last over time. So your last 3 years worth of 3 seasons worth of World Monologue Games results will count towards your score. We also have an achievement program, a badges program, where we give little rewards out for certain things like submitting lots of times, all the way through to being selected multiple times for the global finals in a particular category. And I'll expand on those programs a little bit. Okay, so all of this is in no particular order, just bear with me. Now, one thing to bear in mind at World Monologue Games, because we are a global event, we have to set the time zone for things like deadlines for the events, And that can be confusing for people. We have people sometimes trying to submit one day late because they got confused about where Australia is in terms of the time zones. We are based in Sydney, Australia, and so we use Sydney, Australia's time zone for the whole event. So if we say the deadline is at 11:59 p.m., we are referring to 11:59 p.m. Sydney, Australia time. If we're talking about an event that starts at 8 p.m., one of the regional final shows, for example, that is 8 p.m. Sydney, Australia time. Bear in mind that Sydney, Australia is ahead of almost the entire world other than New Zealand. So usually 8 o'clock Sydney time is going to be earlier in the day, as early as I don't know, 2 a.m. I think in LA is about as far away as it gets, something like that. Um, it's really important just to bear that in mind. We also have a time zone change in October, somewhere between the qualifiers, the period we're in at the moment, and the actual regional finals. So just to make it even more confusing. But we have a couple of things to make that easy for you. We have countdown timers on the website for key things like submission deadlines, and YouTube themselves will actually give you the exact date and time in your time zone, in your current time zone of any show. So that can just help you figure it out. Yeah, it can get very, very confusing, but we hope you'll be able to do your best. Now, the deadlines. So we have 2 deadlines this year. Now, in the past, we had an early bird deadline that will not exist anymore. It was something that basically, if you submitted by a certain date, you could get an extra entry, and you had to do a few other things as well. We just found that it was a bit complicated, it confused some people, and it wasn't really driving any extra submissions or any extra like interest in the event, which is kind of like the main thing about doing stuff like an early bird deadline. It wasn't really working, so we have decided to remove it and just keep things simple. We've made a few simplifications this year. So we have our main deadline, which is on Thursday, the 13th of August. Those deadlines, I believe the text of that is in the description of this video. If it's not, we'll make sure we add it shortly after this live stream. The deadline is 11:59 p.m. because it's less confusing than saying midnight and then you don't know which day is at the start of the day or the end of the day. So it's the Thursday the 13th at 11:59 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. There is a late deadline as well, and what that means is that you can still submit, but you must buy an entry. All of our free entries that we give out, one to each person, they expire on Thursday the 13th of August at the main deadline. If you would like to submit late, or if you would like to submit more than one performance at the games, and you can submit as many as you want, then you will have to buy extra entries. I'll talk about the shop later, but you can buy them for something like $7.95 US for one, or you could buy 5 for a discounted price. So the late deadline is Sunday, the 30th of August. That is 17 days after the main deadline. And if you have if you miss that that late deadline, apologies, then we will not accept an entry. That is the absolute last moment that you can submit. Why? Because it's already 2.5 weeks after the deadline, and the late deadline is not meant to be like, oh, I'll submit by then. It's meant to be a late deadline. It's meant to be an extension. We don't allow any submissions after that point. So if you get the time zone confused, our system actually closes the entry form. We cannot accept it. We can't override that. You just missed out. So please try to get your submissions in like at least a few days before the deadline, just to be safe. You've got plenty of time from now, the 19th of July, until the 13th of August, which is our deadline, and then the 30th of August is the late deadline. But yes, we do take that very seriously. You cannot submit late. If you have technical issues, I'm sorry, we can't do anything about that. So that's why you should always submit a few days before the deadline, just in case something goes wrong with your internet, or you're filming on the last day and you're trying to upload the video, that kind of people do this kind of thing. Or even if our website goes down, if it goes down, we can't do anything about that. That happens sometimes. You know, the internet is a fickle place. I think I've made my point. Now, what can you perform at World Monologue Games? You can perform anything that you like. There are some requirements, which I'll go through. But in terms of what you're allowed to perform, you can write a script, you can use a script that you find from someone else, you can ask someone to write something for you, um, whatever you want. However, you do need to have permission from the copyright owner. Why? Because it is the law. Copyright law requires you to get permission to use any work for any purpose, basically. Um, you if you need to perform this script, a script for World Monologue Games, you need to get permission, otherwise we can't broadcast it. And obviously that's the whole point. So this is copyright law. It's not our decision per se, it's not our choice. We don't write copyright law. You just do need to you need to get that permission. It's actually pretty straightforward to get, I find. Like, if you just contact a writer, you can tend to get permission. We've had everyone up until Aaron Sorkin, the writer of The West Wing, among many other things, who have granted permission, which is really cool. Sometimes it is tricky though, like TV and movies. The content can be owned by a studio, not an individual writer, and it can get a little bit difficult if they don't want to give you permission. But so far what we've found is that if you find the writers online and ask, they tend to say yes. You're not getting anything out of it. It's a free event. They don't tend to mind. But you do need to get that permission. You just have to. We had a rule in the past that you couldn't talk about coronavirus, because when this event first came out, we just wanted people to not talk about COVID and coronavirus. That's gone now. You can talk about COVID if you want to. You can talk about anything, any topic, any style. You can be film style, theatre style. It could be Shakespeare. It can be whatever you want. We do not ban, but we strongly discourage you from doing things that are like really strong political statements, because it can just be alienating. And it's an acting competition. It is not a writing competition. It is not a platform to push your beliefs about whatever it might be. I'll say veganism, because I'm a lifelong vegetarian at this point, and sort of a vegan, but I would not use this as a platform to push that. Again, it is an acting showcase and competition. Let's keep the focus on that. Let's find a script that lets you do good acting, and just keep it light. And you know, the world's there's enough sort of political stress and tension out there that it's just nice to have an outlet that doesn't include that, where everyone can just have a good time and enjoy the show without being preached at by people who they may or may not agree with. But that said, you can make it about anything. So it's just what we encourage, to try to set the you know, the culture around the event, rather than that being an actual restriction, because at the same time we do want people to be able to perform things that they think will bring out the best from them, and something that they'll, you know, be passionate about and do a great job with. So yeah, bit of a contradiction, but anyway, let's roll with it. We do have some publications available and some free content available if you don't know what you want to perform. There's about a dozen scripts available on the Monologue Project's website. If you Google the Monologue Project, you'll probably find it. We have something like 150 audition-length monologues there. 12 are free. You can purchase publications. You can purchase ebooks. You can purchase the books in print now. That's new this year. They weren't in print in the past. Now they are. We also have 10-minute monologues, about 42, 43 of them. Again, about 15 of those are available for free. You're allowed to perform this work without getting permission. Why? Because I wrote it all, and I give you permission to use it at World Monologue Games. If you need to make small changes to the script, feel free to do that. If you want to cut out swearing, for example, you can do that, or just minor changes. If you want to make major changes, please, just as a courtesy, write to me. But that content is there so that everybody at least has some options which are available for free. And you can find out of copyright work everywhere. So the general rule of thumb is this: if the author has passed away more than 75 years ago, then the work is in the public domain. But you can search for public domain work, and anything that's in the public domain you're also welcome to use without permission, because it's no longer restricted by copyright laws. One more thing, kind of circling back a little bit to that thing about political statements. It's about entertainment. It's about the audience. This is not an event for casting directors. Yes, we do have casting directors on the judging panel, about 7 or 8 of them, in fact, including one who's won 3 Emmys and been nominated for another 5. This is an acting showcase. It is about entertainment. We want our audiences to watch it and to love it. So monologues where you sit there and you stare out the side and you mope a lot and you have long pauses and just talk about, I don't know, how something horrible happened in your past. We hate that stuff. We hate that stuff. It's typically quite, it's not really that fun to watch. It might show off your skills as an actor, but we want something that the audiences will enjoy too, because if we don't have audiences watching this, what have we got? We've got nothing. So once again, you can perform that stuff, but we encourage you to put the audience first, the viewer first, and make sure that whatever you perform is fun. It's not necessarily a comedy, doesn't mean you can't do drama, just something that you think people will like and engage with, rather than just showing off how emotional and cryy you can be as an actor. I hope that makes sense. Now, your monologue must be filmed for this season. It must be submitted, uploaded to YouTube no earlier than the opening date of the event, which was something like the 10th of July. It's on our timeline, so you can check the timeline page to see that exact date. If it's something that was already on YouTube and you just share it, no, we won't use it. Why? Because this is about new work that's been created for World Monologue Games. If you have something on your YouTube channel or your social media which you really like, just do a new recording. You must never share it with anyone, only with World Monologue Games, only by submitting it. That's why we say it needs to be unlisted on YouTube. It cannot be made public. You can't also upload the same video to your Instagram or your TikTok and then submit it. If we find it elsewhere, it will be disqualified. And we do look. We always look every year, and we always do find people who have made their monologues public or used old stuff that they uploaded 2 years ago. If you do that, it will just be disqualified. So please don't do that. Again, it's about new work. When our audiences tune in and watch our shows, we want them to see only new content they've never seen before. They never saw it shared on your reel. And we want them to watch content that they're going to enjoy. That's our main goal, in terms of audience at least. Now, who do you represent at World Monologue Games? You see that you can represent a country. Now that's up to you. It could be your country of origin. It could be the country that you live in. It could be a country that's just close to your heart because you've lived there for 10 out of the last 15 years, even though you're no longer there anymore. It's entirely up to you who you choose to represent. On the website, you can choose to you can tell us which country you live in, your country of residence, and you can also tell us which country you want to represent. One thing to bear in mind is that once you have made your first submission, you can't change that anymore. You can't change your name. You can't change your country of representation anymore, because we start to send things out to the judges, and it might be based on the region. It might be based on that country. So we can't have you submitting as representing Australia, and then you want to change your mind 3 weeks later to make it the United States. because your work might have already been judged by then against the Australian group. So no changing, guys. Make your decision before you submit. We used to have a partner program where you could represent a school or an agency, and we have retired that program. That's no longer part of World Monologue Games. There are several reasons for that, but in short, it just wasn't really doing what we hoped it would. What we were hoping is that the agents and the schools would really promote the involvement of their actors and really push for it and promote that work to audiences. And there were some partners who did that very enthusiastically, but there were also people who weren't partners with us who would do that as well. So their performers would, let's say they're a small acting school somewhere, their performers would submit, and even though they weren't a partner with us, they still, the school would still promote their performances and the event. And we just realized that there wasn't much of a distinction between those who were partners and those who weren't. And it's a lot of work for us. I should mention that we do this as volunteers. It actually costs us money. We've spent a lot of money on prizes, which we've paid for ourselves, the prize money, and take 6 months of our year to run this event. So we're also trying to make it a little bit lighter for ourselves, a little bit simpler. Otherwise, we're going to have to stop doing this because it's just too much effort and not enough reward for us. So I hope that makes sense. Now, in terms of the categories, we have 5 categories. We have tigers, which are performers who are 5 to 11 years old. We don't have a category for people who are aged 4 and under because we don't believe that a 4-year-old and an 11-year-old can be assessed against each other fairly. 5 and 11 is already a stretch, but you get some amazing, talented 5 and 6-year-olds sometimes. But yeah, there's no category for actors aged 1 to 4, or 0 to 4, I should say. Not that anyone who's like a baby would enter. I don't know, probably struggle to remember the script or even speak. The Tigers category is 1 to 2.5 minute duration for their performances. Youth is 12 to 17 minutes. 12 to 17 years old, not 12 to 17 minutes, sorry. If you are ages 12 to 17, you submit in the youth category, and it's 1 to 2.5 minutes, just like the Tigers. We have the main amateur category, which is anyone who is 18 years or older, and you choose to enter that category. We have the main professional category, which is also for adults 18 years and older, and both of those categories are 1 to 2.5 minutes. The distinction is really a self-assessment. So if you feel like you are a professional actor, or if you feel like amateur is a better word to describe where you are in your career, then that's what you enter. It's entirely up to you. We don't assess it. We don't means test it because we want it to be about what people feel comfortable with and where they think they're at. We do have one rule, which is that if you have made it to the global finals in the main amateur category, you may no longer enter the main amateur category. If you've made it to the globals, you must now enter the main professional category. Finally, we have endurance, which is also for actors aged 18 and over, and that is a 5 to 8 minute monologue. That's all done in one take, no cuts, no edits, no other camera angles. So it's pretty hardcore, it's pretty tough, but we've had it going for since the beginning, and we've had amazing performances, and yeah, it's a good bit of fun. But all of the other categories are 1 to 2.5 minutes long, other than endurance, which is 5 to 8 minutes. You should have probably noticed by now that the sprint category has been retired as well. Sprint was a short 45 to 60 second monologue, and in brief, we just didn't get that much interest. We didn't get many entries, and we certainly didn't get many viewers watch the sprint category for whatever reason. I thought it was really cool. I really liked the super short monologues, but yeah, people didn't like it, and yeah, we are now removing it because it just didn't have that much traction. Now, in terms of which category do you enter, it is based on your age at the date of the late deadline. So if you are 17 on the 30th of August, which is the late deadline, then you must enter the youth category. If you are 11 years old on the 30th of August, you must enter Tigers. If you are 18 or older on the 30th of August, you are in the adult categories. Judging and scoring, I'll talk about for a moment. Our judges are industry pros. As I mentioned, we have lots of casting directors. We have acting coaches. We have professional actors. We just have people from the like a fairly broad spectrum of the entertainment industry. So we have a number of our judges on our website, and we'd encourage you to go and check them out. But we also have judges who choose not to share their profile and their bio, who are involved as well. So what you see on the website is not everyone by any means. Now, when we have the qualifiers, all of our entries are judged minimum of 3 times, and those entries given a score out of 5. And essentially, we use the average score of the 3 judges. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's 4, sometimes it's 5. But yeah, we use the average score of the judges, and we basically just draw a line, and we say everybody who's got this score and above makes it through to the regionals in their region, and everyone who's got this score and below does not. Quite simple. With the judges' criteria, we don't actually share the judging criteria public, but it's all about basic acting skills. It's about the emotion, it's about your pacing, your voice, your ability to use voice, those kinds of things. Pretty straightforward, typical acting stuff. But it's all about acting skills. So it's not, again, I will repeat, about camera work. It is not about the set. It is not about your costume. It's not about the things that you put together around your performance. It's just purely about your acting. Now, having said that, you are very welcome to make the set look great and to use a costume. I'd encourage you to do it, actually, because one, it looks better, and the audiences will probably enjoy it more. And 2, maybe it just helps you get into character. If you're, you're doing an inmate and you're wearing a suit, I don't know, then that might look a bit weird and might feel a little bit weird as a performer. But if you are, wearing a appropriate orange jumpsuit, you might just, get into it a bit more and perform, that little bit extra. So feel free to, to do a nice set, nice costumes and stuff like that. But just know that you won't be judged on those things, just the acting. Same with the audio visual quality. You're not judged on it, but it should be good. It should be good. You should think that your performance needs to be good enough to be broadcast, because with the regional finals, they will be. If you submit your qualifiers video and it gets selected, it will be included in the regional finals, that same video. So this is a big change from last year. We don't get you to film again for the regionals. We will use the same video. Audio quality is particularly important. If you have bad audio quality and the judges can't hear you properly, or they can't make out the emotion, then typically that tends to, you get pretty smashed pretty quickly there. So don't do that. Make sure you have good audio, and I would encourage you to get good video if you can. Mobile phones are totally fine. Probably most people perform using their mobiles. They film with their mobiles, and it's absolutely fine. Mobiles these days are pretty great in terms of AV quality. Getting a microphone is a great idea, though, because even mobiles or cameras don't tend to have the best built-in microphones. An external microphone, whether it's a lapel mic, which you hopefully can't see because it's a little bit distracting, or a shotgun mic or something like that, I find that really helps the audio, and I would encourage you to try to get the best AV quality you can. But remember, you won't be judged on that. You just might be punished if the judges can't hear you properly, or they can't see your face, they can't see the emotion. Yeah, cool. Okay, let's talk about the requirements for your submissions now. Now, in the past, you could have an unlimited number of submissions selected to go through. We've had three people, one actor, sorry, have three videos in the same category before. We've changed that now. We're limiting it to two performances per category. Why? Because it was too much. It was too much when someone would get three different monologues in, and we'd put it into the same category, and then you see that same person appearing three times in one show. I kind of, we always kind of hated it, to be honest. So we've limited that to two now, just to showcase more actors and more variety. But you can still get two in, which is already pretty nice, I think. That doesn't limit the number of submissions you can put in. So you can still submit an infinite number. If you buy 100 entries and submit 100, we will accept them all. However, we will only put two through per category. So you could have two in endurance and two in main pro if that's the category you enter. Any language is fine. It doesn't have to be in English. You can perform in any language whatsoever. In our first year, 3 of the 6 global champions did not perform in English. We did the maths on it. We looked at our performances, which had made it through to the regionals and the globals over the year, and we looked at the language where English was not used. Statistically speaking, it makes no difference what language you perform in. So based on the proportion of English speakers versus non-English speakers submitting and the proportion going through to the regionals and the globals, there was no skew either way. So we're very careful with our judges to make sure that they are comfortable assessing any language. They don't necessarily speak the language that they're assessing, but they can identify great acting. And you know that if you watch a foreign film with subtitles, you might not understand a word that they're saying. However, you can appreciate good acting when you see it. You can tell. So no, you can't use subtitles at World Monologue Games. We don't allow subtitles, but don't worry if you're not speaking in English. It won't make a difference. It's all about the acting. Really, we're very happy that that's the case, because we love that people can perform in their native language if that is not English. Timing starts when the acting starts. So as soon as you start performing, whether that's a look out to the side or whether it's dialogue, then that's when we count the timing. So you can't sit there and do non-verbal acting for 5 seconds and then just do something that perfectly fits the 2.5 minute time limit and expect to get away with that. You can't. Please consider that non-verbal acting is part of it as well. This is a really, really important point, guys. Please do not just cut your video the moment that you finish acting. Let it sit. We can edit the ends off the videos or the starts off the videos. That takes 2 seconds. It's not that hard. But what we can't do is if you perform and then you finish and then you give us a video where as soon as your last word comes out of your mouth, you cut it, we can't add it. We can't add anything else. And it looks awkward as hell. Please do not do that. Please leave a little bit of breathing space at the end. Even if it goes over the time limit because of that breathing space, we will still edit it down. If the performance goes over the time limit, we can't use it anyway. But if the video itself goes a little bit over, I would rather be able to do fine editing to fit it in than to just have it cut awkwardly. That said, we do not give any leeway on the time limit. We just don't. Why? Because we're just very clear about what the categories are, and people come to watch a 1 to 2.5 minute performance. They don't want to watch a 2 minute and 45 second performance or a 58 second performance. 1 second will be disqualified. If it is too long or too short, we will disqualify it. Please do not send us work that doesn't fit the time limit. It must be one continuous take. It must be one camera only and no cutting or editing. We have seen people do it. People try to cut and edit, and they try to They try to mask it sometimes. We'll just instantly disqualify you if you don't do that. If you do that, please don't do that. Yeah, it's got to be one continuous take. Don't add any titles. Don't add any music. Don't add an introduction, either via text on the screen or graphics or a verbal introduction. Don't say thank you. Don't add subtitles. Don't do anything. Just give us the video of you acting. If you want to improve the sound, we're really happy with that. What do I mean by improve? I don't mean dub over it. Of course, you can't do that. I just mean like if you want to clean out the background hiss, if you know how to do that, if you want to lift the levels, we're really happy with that. We like good quality stuff. But yeah, no editing, no trying to add anything in later, sound effects. You can't use sound effects. You can't use music. You can't overdub. Just the live performance only. No off-screen voices, no silent bodies, no scene partners, no voice over, nothing where another person can be seen or heard. We've had people like an object gets thrown to them, and that's okay. We kind of discourage it, but like if the other person never appears or you don't hear them. But as soon as we hear them, that's it. That video gets disqualified. So again, it's called World Monologue Games. It's just about you. Make it all about you. You can have camera movement. It doesn't have to be fixed on a tripod, or it could be fixed. That's not important. So whether the camera moves or not doesn't matter. And of course, I'll repeat that you must have permission from the copyright holder of your script, that is. Now, progressing to the regionals. The dates do depend on who we put through. I think on our website we have a rough date of like mid-October, maybe, or maybe it's even November. I can't actually remember. But we don't have the finer details at this stage because we don't know how many submissions we're going to get. We don't know how many videos the judge is going to be putting through, etc., etc. Sorry, I've lost my thread. Yeah, those dates, those events will all be added to the website in due time. Depending on the number of performers, we might do more and more shows, as I said before, but sometimes we even do multiple shows for one region. So we've had we had a season where we did like 2 different shows for Sydney. It was like kind of, I don't know, the north of Sydney and then the west and south of Sydney, because we just had so many great performances from those cities. That's also possible. We don't do as many endurance shows, and we try to keep the numbers low because they're so long at 5 to 8 minutes. When the shows were longer, people didn't want to watch them. When they're shorter, people like to watch them. So endurance is more competitive. Yes, it is in a manner of speaking harder because you have to do a longer performance. It could be 7 minutes long, 5 to 8 minutes. Could be 7 minutes, could be 6 minutes. That's harder to do than a 1 minute performance. And it's not as many go through. So you could say that it's a more difficult category. That is what it is. We judge it using the same kind of criteria and methods, and yeah, if it's something that you want to do, that's great. We don't get as many submissions for endurance as you could probably imagine, so I don't know, statistically your chances are probably about the same, but yeah, it's a tough category, and bear that in mind. One other thing is that if you are an under 18 performer, you must get your parents' permission. We have we do that all via our website. We do it online. Your parents need to produce a statement and check terms and conditions and write something about giving permission to include your work. You will need to get their permission if you are under 18 before we allow you to be in the regionals. If you don't get their permission, we won't include you. If you make it through to the regionals, whether you're a teen or an adult. We will obviously send you more information. We'll do another info session to go over those details, and yeah, you'll find out more then. I do have a question in the chat whether or not you have to do the same monologue. Yes. If you are selected for the regional finals, we will broadcast that same video that you submitted for the qualifiers as part of the regional show. But if you then make it to the global finals, you will also have to do the exact same script. You'll be able to reinterpret it. You can, change the set, change the costume, change the pacing, whatever, but you must use the same words. It must be the same script. That way, if someone submits 2 entries, one gets selected, one doesn't, they can't change it halfway through. Now, just a few more things about submissions. If you register via the World Monologue Games homepage, you get access to our member site, and you'll then get reminders for the deadlines, and you'll be able to submit via the website, get all of the information. You'll also get your free entry. If you register prior to the main deadline, you are given a free entry into the games. If you register after the main deadline, before the late deadline, you won't get a free entry. You'll have to pay for one. Please check your spam folder, guys. Unfortunately, the internet email providers choose to mark our messages as spam, or even block them very occasionally. That's happened a few times with new registrations. The email just simply, our system sends it, we can see that it's been sent, but like the other system just rejects it because these email providers suck at what they do, basically. So please check your spam folder. If you don't get a message that you're expecting, just let us know, and we're always there ready to help, happy to help. If you want to submit, just look. Pardon me. Sorry, I've had a bit of a cold, so I've still got a cough in the background. Oh my God. If you want to submit, you can log into the member site. There's a submissions page. There's a countdown timer until the deadline, so you know when it's due. But yeah, you can just do all of that online. We have a naming convention for your video on YouTube. It is in the description of this video. It is on the website, so make sure you use that. That is the name of your video on YouTube. It's not text that you put at the start of your video. It is the title on YouTube, just to be clear. World Monologue Games, your country, your full name. So it should say World Monologue Games Australia Pete Malicki. Remember, it must be unlisted. If it is public, it will be disqualified. If it's got a lot of views, like you put it on public and then you remembered and you changed it, it will be disqualified. If you do that in error by accident, if no one watches it, yeah, that's okay, of course. If you've changed it within, whatever, a couple of hours. But if it's got views, it's going to be disqualified. You'll have to film a new performance. You can select your category on the website at the time of submission. So if you want to choose whether it's a main amateur or a main professional submission, that's where you can do that. If you're youth or tigers, you get to determine which one of those 2 categories that you're entering. That is, again, based on your age. I've mentioned the time zones, so I won't repeat that. But just remember that be careful about the time zone so you don't miss the deadline. And please read the How to WMG page. It's there's a bunch of bullet points that just outline the key things. In case I forget to say something here today, or if there's just something that we haven't covered, then that it will be on that page. So just make sure you read that. It's all pretty straightforward, really, and then we will be able to accept your submission, because we absolutely hate disqualifying anyone, just to be clear. I know I've talked about how we sometimes do disqualify people. We hate it. You've put in effort. You're trying to enter our event, which is it's good for everybody. And if you haven't followed the instructions properly and you've submitted something that's too long, or whatever the problem is, you use cuts and multiple camera angles, we can't use it, we won't include it, we won't broadcast it, and that's just a pity. and we hate to do it. So please, yeah, be really careful with the instructions. Um, so uh, one thing to mention is that if you get selected for the regionals, you will need to fill out a quick form online to accept your spot in the regionals. Why? Because we just want to make sure that you are happy to be included still, because you might have submitted already. Some people have. They've submitted before this was filmed, this info session. And then it's like 3 months before the event starts because we've got to have judgment and preparing the YouTube events. So sometimes people change their minds or they want to withdraw for whatever reason. That's fine. You can withdraw. Up until the point where it's been programmed, and then obviously you can't. So yeah, we just get you to accept your position in the regionals, and if you don't accept, we won't include you. But if you make it, we'll send the information. It will be very clear. If you get more than one video, one performance through, whether it's within the same category or whether it's within two different categories, e.g. an endurance and a main pro, you will get one email per submission. So you might get one email saying, congratulations, you've been selected. You might get one email saying, sorry, you didn't make it this time. Please check those emails carefully. Each spot in the regional finals gets its own separate communications. So yeah, make sure you check those emails, because we had once someone who was selected and rejected with their various entries, and they just thought that they got completely rejected, and then they didn't respond to us when we followed up about that, and they lost their spot in the event, which was a real pity because they just weren't reading their emails. In terms of programming the times of the regional and global finals, it's worth me pointing out now that we can't program the times at a suitable time for everybody. Sometimes your event might be on in the early hours of the morning, and it's just because we've got performers from all around the world and the time zones change. There's however many time zones, 24 time zones, I don't even know. Yeah, it's just really hard to do. So unfortunately, sometimes you'll get an unfavorable premiere time or live stream time, and we apologize in advance for that. We do our best. We look at the time zones of the people who are selected in a particular event. So if it's like, let's say we select Indonesia, Australia and New Zealand for a show, then we will try to put it at a time that is not the middle of the morning for all of those countries. We'll do our best, but yeah, it can be a bit tricky. In terms of judging, I might just, I'll probably just skip this actually, because it's for the regional finals. We'll talk about it then, the finer details of how judging works for the regionals. But just quickly, like, the judges pick their top three, and they get a certain number of points based on whether it's the first, second, or third. And if there's a tie, we use the audience vote as a decider. With the globals, just a little bit of a quick rundown on how the globals will work. Again, if you make a submission, it must be unlisted, and you can't share that video until after the event is finished. It must be the same monologue as I mentioned before, because it's the performer and the performance that is selected. So you can't change the text at all. No changes to the text, right? Whatever the script is, that was the one that you performed and got selected with. That's the one you need to perform again. Audiences in particular will expect higher quality for the global final, so I would encourage you again to do your very best there. But as I mentioned, you're very welcome to change the set, the costumes, the background, that kind of stuff for the globals. They will take place about 3 or 4 weeks after the regional finals wrap up. We have a couple of questions here. I'm just going to have a quick look just to make sure I haven't missed anything. David, yes, if you make it to the global finals, you have to refilm, but not the regional finals. If you make the regional finals, just to be clear, We will use the submission you've already sent us for the qualifiers. If you make the global finals, you have to film again. Someone's asked, is there a video for each country in each category of the global finals? No, there isn't, because we just simply wouldn't have enough performances from certain countries. Like sometimes only one person from one country from a particular country gets through. So we actually just do one show per category in the global. So for the main professional category, we just do one show, and there might be 20 performances, but yeah, it's only the one. In terms of prizes, the way that we're doing that this year is all of the entry fees that we receive, so the extra entries and the later entries, they will be all of that money will be given back as prize money. So how much that is, we can't tell you. It does depend on how many people want to purchase extra entries and late entries, but 100% of that money will be given back as prize money. If you do win a prize, you need to claim it within 4 weeks. Why? Because 4 weeks is plenty of time, and we don't want to be sitting on a debt forever. I've had people in other events that I've run contact me 5 years later asking for something that happened 5 years ago, and it's a little bit difficult to manage your life when that's happening. So you get 4 weeks to claim your prizes. Please be warned. We have paid everybody in the past. Nobody has ever missed out because they have always contacted us, which is great. But yeah, please bear in mind that's how it works. If you would like to sponsor World Monologue Games, reach out to us. We do have a sponsorship program. It would be wonderful, actually, because we didn't run the event last year because it costs us money and it takes us so much of our time. We don't get paid for it. We do it as volunteers. We do it as reverse volunteers, I think, because we're spending money, our own money. And we want this to be sustainable into the future. We'd love to run this every year, but there's going to come a point where we can't do this for nothing indefinitely. So if you feel like sponsoring us, it's a really great sponsorship opportunity. If you have a service or something for actors, because we reach a lot of actors. We've got over 8,000 people on our mailing list and another 7 or 8 on socials. So yeah, reach out and we can give you a bit more information. But on that same note, yeah, we're a volunteer-run organization. It's just 2 people, and we actually pay someone to do some of our design work. So if you would like to donate to support World Monologue Games, we would absolutely love you. It will help keep this event sustainable, and yeah, it would be amazing if you would consider that. We do have a link in the description of this video. Having said that, it's about access for everyone, so you're not obligated in any way, of course, to make a donation. And if you can't make a donation, that's fine. You're still very welcome to be part of the community here. We would love to have you still. There's just a few more things to run through. So guys, if you have any other questions, pop them in the chat now. I will be going through those questions shortly after I get through the rest of my script here. We have a ranking program. I mentioned that very briefly towards the beginning. So the way that this works is if you make it to the regional finals, you'll get a certain number of ranking points that go towards your total ranking. It's essentially based on the order. So whoever comes first in the globals gets the most points. Then whoever comes second gets slightly less points than first. And whoever comes third gets less points again. All the way down through to position number 250 if we get that many. You retain points from your previous two seasons, but they deprecate. So it's something like 3/4 of your points are from the most recent season, or maybe it's 2/3, I can't remember, and then the remaining quarter or third come from the 2 seasons before that. So if you are consistent, you will rank better. If you do really well, you'll rank even better yet. And nothing comes of this. It's just a ranking system. Like you don't get any particular advantage, like you don't get straight into the regional finals the next year or anything like that. We had someone who had come in, like, I'll just say the top 3 of their category, who didn't get in the next season. They just didn't get selected. So yeah, it's just a fun way of getting, if you want to care about it and you can look at the rankings, it's just a fun way of saying, hey, I'm ranked 13th in the world in World Monologue Games. Or you could ignore it. That's up to you. If you change your category, you don't carry points across. So if you're in the main amateur category last year and you're in the main pro category this year, you don't get ranking points from a different category, because it's a different category and you're now comparing yourself to different performers. And since sprint is no longer part of the event, the sprint rankings will only remain on the website for another couple of years or so, and then they will be removed because sprint is now in the archives. So yeah, bear that in mind as well. Someone has asked a question: if you turn 12 on the 12th of August, which category do you enter? Well, the rule is, what is your age on the 30th of August? So if you turn 12 on the 12th, you're still 12 on the 30th, and that means you will be in the youth category, because on the day of the late deadline, if you are 12 to 17, you will be in youth. So hope that's clear. I won't answer those questions from anyone else, because I'll just refer back to that earlier point in the video where I ran through that. But yeah, looking forward to seeing you in the youth category there. Okay, what else do we have? We have an achievement program. I'll just run through this really quick. We give out badges for people who do certain things. So, for example, if you submit 10 videos over time, you get the finisher badge, and we have a gold, silver, and bronze version of each badge. If you make it to the main professional global finals 3 times, you get the Merrill badge. So you can check those out on the website, and to see what the various badges are that you can gun for if you're interested in trying to get them. But also bear in mind that some of those will change or be removed now, but they'll be retired because the sprint category no longer exists. So there were badges for people who, for example, got into the regional finals for sprint, endurance, and the main category all in one season. That's no longer possible because there's no sprint, so that badge will not be awarded anymore. So we haven't quite figured out exactly what we're going to do with that, but we'll make those changes over the next little while. And yeah, badges come with small rewards, like extra entries or scripts, free scripts from the Monologue project. We have a shop. You can buy extra entries, 1 for $7.95, 2 for $15.90, 3 for $18.50, or 5 for $23.95. Those are all US dollars. Even though we're based in Australia, we use US dollars because it's just the most global currency. We have, I mentioned, scripts and publications as well. So you can buy the publication of 10-minute monologues we have called Monosource, or we've got 4 different publications of audition monologues. You can also buy that stuff in a bundle, so you can check that out on the shop. I just got a couple of final points to run through, and then I'll answer just any last questions. I can see there's one video down the bottom, which I'll one question down the bottom, which I'll answer in a minute. In terms of publicity, we have had 320 media articles in 25 countries, as I mentioned at the start. We will give you a media release if you get selected for the regional finals, and you're very welcome to update that. So you can just change some of the details, obviously adding in your name and your country and stuff, but also just like add a few sentences about the background of yourself or your monologue or something like that. And you can send that to media outlets, and it tends to work because media loves to run local media in particular likes to run stories, you're very welcome to try to get some media for yourself. We will send that media release at the due time. You're not obliged to do this, of course. It's up to you. And finally, just a couple of other last random points. One is that we have a course called Audition Boost. If you're interested in doing Audition Boost, it's a 14-day program where every day you get a different challenge with the same monologue, and you have to film it and submit it via our website. And it's just a fantastic way of like really fine-tuning your monologue and digging into it, coming up with new ideas, and getting a really great performance out of that. So that's run by Arts Business Academy, which is part of Undo Redo Group, which also runs World Monologue Games. So basically, it's us. It's the same people. So that's a great way of supporting the games, as well as being a really cool course. And yeah, just one final point. Just like we just ask everybody to treat everyone else with respect and dignity, and to be nice. We're here to help you as much as we can. We're very big on fairness, so we want to make sure that whatever the rules are, they apply equally to everyone, so that you don't get an advantage or a disadvantage that someone else might have. So yeah, just try to keep it civil. Don't put like shit posts in the chats and stuff like that. We really don't take kindly to that. Fortunately, it's barely happened. But yeah, just a really, simple point. Try to be nice to everyone. If you have any last questions, now's the time. I am going to wrap this up in just a minute. I do have one more question here. Let me just read this. Can one submit a script without being an actor for an actor to take up? That's a good question. We don't have a formal way of doing that, so we don't have a mechanism where you can just submit the script, but you're very welcome to find an actor who wants to perform, who can submit the script at the games. We do have a few people. There's like 2 people in particular who every year they write scripts for World Monologue Games, and they find actors who are interested in performing them. We have a Facebook group. It's called like World Monologue Games Resources Information, something along those lines. You're very welcome to post there if you've got a script that you'd like people to perform. Yeah, share it, or tag in World Monologue Games on Instagram. That's probably less effective because it's a bit hard to find. Or find an actor yourself. You're very welcome to do that. What World Monologue Games are sounding very similar to Poetry Slam. What's the difference apart from a live video? Well, it's not poetry; it's a monologue. It's a different thing altogether. Sometimes I suppose a Poetry Slam performance could be considered a monologue, but monologues are often not poetry. They're just it's a script. If you think about a little excerpt from a movie. Let's imagine you've got a character delivering a monologue in a movie. That is not poetry. So the content itself is a little bit different. And yeah, of course, we don't do it live, as in physically live. We do it via YouTube premieres and live stream events. So like, yeah, there are some similarities. It's like, Poetry Slam, monologue showcase, they might look similar, but there are some key differences as well. And I see one last question has come in. Does one person from every age in every category move to the regionals? No, that's a good question. No, we don't actually know your age when you submit. We don't actually ask. As long as you are submitting into the correct category, we do ask that you do that. Like if you're 6 and you submit to youth, we won't accept that. Or if you're 15 and you try to submit as an adult, you can't do that. But no, we don't select based on age. And similarly, we don't select based on even country or race or language or appearance or anything like that. We just look at the performance in isolation by itself. We judge that, and we select the ones that the judges liked the best, and we put those through to the regional finals, and we build a show around that. So If there's 20 people from one country, from I don't know, Malaysia, then we'll do a show just for Malaysia. But if there's only two people from a country, we might group that into a region. So we might do Australia, New Zealand, and Fiji, for example. We form those regions based on the successful entries and not the other way around. Well, look, guys, I think that's kind of it. If a question sneaks in the last seconds, I will quickly answer it. But I just want to say thank you very much for your for focusing on this and for tuning in. That's really appreciated. Thanks for your questions. We really love having you. It's a wonderful community, and we're super looking forward to seeing your submissions. If you need any help, you can just contact us via email, or you can find us on social media. You can leave a comment here. We'll hopefully get the notification from YouTube if you leave a comment. We'll if we see it, we'll come back and answer it, or just send an email is pretty much the most reliable way to reach us. But yeah, we're really looking forward to our 6th season. We're excited about the changes. We think it just keeps it a little bit simpler, a little bit more focused on just the key things. And yeah, we're pleased to be back, and we're really glad to have you. So thanks very much for your interest in World Monologue Games, and we'll see you soon. Alrighty.